Service animals are often misunderstood, mislabeled, and occasionally misrepresented. Most citizens and non-service dog handlers are uneducated on the laws, rights, etiquettes, and basics of service animals. This presentation will define a service animal per ADA law and describe the ADA laws pertaining to them. I will also explain how to legally obtain a service animal. However, task-trained animals are not the only working animals. Therapy and emotional support animals also classify as working animals, but not with the same rights as service animals. Please follow along to get a better understanding of these working animals and the proper etiquette when spotting a team in public. According to the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, a service animal is any dog or miniature horse that is trained specifically to help an individual with a disability, whether it is physical or mental. These animals are legally permitted to accompany their handler anywhere he or she goes in public. Service animals go through extensive training to assist only one handler and must endure varied environments and experiences. Service animals are labeled as in training while learning basics and tasks. The handler or trainer will remove this extension when they feel the animal can perform its tasks and behave appropriately. Since there are such a variety of disabilities and different tasks needed for each person, one service animal's task can be completely unlike another's task. Here I have listed a general idea of tasks service animals perform. Keep in mind, however, that while most tasks can be taught, some are natural alerts. General tasks includes pressure therapy, medical alerts such as for diabetes, seizures, and other invisible medical disabilities. Service animals can also be trained to retrieve key items, drop items, or to carry items for their handlers. In some cases, the service animal is trained to find another person if their handler is down and needs assistance. The Americans with Disabilities Act was signed into law on July 26, 1990. Title II, Chapter 35, Section 136 covers the subject of service animals for those with disabilities. As previously stated, service animals are animals that are trained to perform specific tasks. In accordance with this law, businesses are only permitted to ask two questions. Is this a service animal, and what tasks does the service animal perform? Since there is no official registration for service animals, businesses may not request identification for them, ask about the handler's disability, as some are not visible, or refuse admittance to the service animal team. However, business owners may ask the handler to remove the animal if the animal is not housebroken or is causing a disturbance and the handler is not correcting the animal. Service animals are permitted to accompany their handler in any public setting without additional charge. Although I have not included it here, it is also important to note that interfering with a service animal, such as distracting them, petting them, or harassing the handler, is against the law. For additional information, I will include links to the ADA laws in the description. So how do you obtain a service animal? Talk to your doctor about your disability and ask if they would recommend you getting a service animal to help with your disability. Remember that the animal would have to be task trained to specify what the animal would do to help you. Do not use online registries to certify a service animal if your doctor disapproves. Also note that service animals aren't for everyone. If approved, you would need to decide on what breed of animal and size you would need to help with your disability, as well as tasks you would need the animal to perform. Look into training programs, or you can owner train. Keep in mind that training takes a lot of patience, work, and consistency. It takes an average of 2 years for a service animal to be considered fully trained. They should be able to perform their basics without hesitation, ignore their working environment, but also be relaxed in their environment and be able to task. As stated previously, the federal ADA laws do not require service animals to be registered, and there is currently no official registry that exists for them. Service animals must be task trained for their handler's disability and has a certain set of behavioral standards that must be met in order to be legally labeled as a service animal. There are many service animal registries that can be found online that offer certificates, vests, and IDs upon registering your dog. However, the ADA does not recognize these registries, and the dogs will not be protected under ADA laws should anything happen in public. People are now registering their untrained pets as service animals in order to take them wherever they go without question, but it's hurting the service dog community. Untrained pets and ill-behaved animals are giving legitimate service animals a bad reputation and making it more difficult for their handlers to have untroubled public access. Therapy animals are working animals that provide comfort to many people. While they do go through extensive training, they are not task trained to help a specific person. Although these working animals are generally seen at hospitals and specific public facilities, they are not covered by ADA or state laws having public access rights unless permission is granted. This means that a therapy animal cannot freely accompany their handler to public facilities such as restaurants without granted permission. Some therapy animals, such as Lily, featured here with her handler, are trained to perform tricks as a means to comfort people as well. An emotional support animal, or ESA, is an animal that is not trained to perform tasks to help its handler with a disability, but does offer emotional comfort to the handler. These animals have no public access rights under any circumstances. Because these animals are not trained to mitigate their handler's disability, the animals are not considered service animals, and therefore are not protected under state or ADA laws. However, they are allowed to fly with the handler as long as the animal is not disruptive or aggressive, which is grounds for passenger and animal removal. ESAs are permitted to live in houses that have a no pets policy in place because the animal does help comfort the owner. An ESA is not limiting as far as the animal can be any species or breed. When encountering a service animal team, please be respectful to the handler and animal alike. The animal is working, so purposely distracting them could result in them missing a cue or trigger that they are trained to alert to, which could put the handler at risk. If you meet a team, remember that they are just like you. They have already had at least a dozen encounters already with people asking to pet their service animal or asking personal questions. Please be respectful and give them space. Do not get offended if the handler does not interact with you. If you would like to know more about service animals, I will include the links used in this presentation in the description below.